Hey robot makers, how are you doing? Hope you're having a good week, good day so far. So, do you want to build your own? No, that's not right. Do you want to know all about the Cutebot from Elecfreaks? Or Elecfreaks, can I get the name right? It's a cute robot powered by the RP2040 chip from Raspberry Pi, but is it any good? Let's dive straight in. My name's Kevin, come with me as we build robots, bring them to life with code, and have a whole load of fun along the way. Okay, let's get over to Keynote. Okay, got a bit of a slightly different setup this week, trying out a new format to try and make things a bit more polished. There we go. Okay, so let's get over to the Keynote. So yes, we're going to have a look at the Cutebot from Elecfreaks. We're going to look at what is it. We're going to have a look at the Pico-Ed, which is a little microcontroller board, very similar to the MicroBit. It's got the same kind of form factor with these edge connectors and so on, but it's got a slightly different chip, so we'll have a look at that. We'll have a look at some of the features. We'll have a look at the MicroPython library and have a look at how you can investigate MicroPython libraries from your command line. And we'll have a look at some pros and cons and do a bit of an honest evaluation as well. And then we'll do a bit of a demo to see what this is like. Okay, so, oh, and also if you're watching on live, you can do a bit of a Q&A at the end of the show as well. So stick around for that if you're watching live. Okay, so what is Cutebot? It's certainly cute. It's like a smaller size of BurgerBot. I'll show you on the overhead in a second or two what this actually looks like. So it's a small robot produced by Elecfreaks in China. It's powered by the Pico-Ed, which if I just grab that now and show you what this looks like. It's just plugged in over here. It's a bit easy if I just grab this and sort of show you on the screen. So it looks like a MicroBit. It's the same form factor, but it's got a slightly different chip in it, as you can see. So if I just compare that to, let's do this this way around, it's probably best. So on that side, you can see there's a hell of a lot more LED pixels on the display. It's got the same two buttons, and then if I flip them around, you can see on the back there, it's the same kind of layout where you've got power connectors at the top there, same JST PH connector, and it's also got the same kind of USB cable connector as well, and as the edge connectors. Same kind of edge connectors, same kind of compatibility, I understand. We'll plug that in a minute and have a play with it. It's two-wheel drive, so it has two nice grippy sort of rubbery motors, rubbery tyres on the motors. The motors are fully enclosed so that you can't actually get to them or do anything wrong with them. And comes fully assembled. All you need to do is plug the Pico-Ed into the slot on the Cutebot, and then you're up and running. There's also a rangefinder that you can connect in on the front as well. And it has it's powered by 3 AA batteries, or you can buy a LiPo pack as well, sold separately too. Well, I've got two microphones going on. Yeah, sorry about that. Some audio issues. Hopefully that's resolved now. It's probably a small echo, was there? Yes, so the Pico-Ed features, so it's like a MicroBit, but it's powered by the Raspberry Pi RP2040. It's got the same form factor, as I've said, as the MicroBit, the BBC MicroBit. And the BBC MicroBit doesn't have a Raspberry Pi chip, has a different chip. Is it a SAM chip? I'm not sure 100% what that is, but it has a whole bunch of different features on there. So there is a power LED and a USB data transfer LED on there. It has this 7x17 dot matrix screen as well, so you can do some really nice messages, sort of a high resolution. The MicroBit only has a 5x5 pixel display, so that isn't something that's great for scrolling messages on, although you can do just about. It has the 25-pin notched edge connector on the bottom. I absolutely love the shape of this. It's like a Pac-Man ghost, isn't it, with the sort of wavy underneath. It has a buzzer, so you can do some sound on there. And it has two programmable user buttons as well on the front next to the display, so you can do what you like with those. Okay. So this is what the front and the back look like. You can see all the different buttons, connectors and bits and pieces on there. So we've got the USB connector at the top, we've got the boot selector, which you can use if you hold that down and press the reset button, keep the boot select button held down. You can then program it with, you know, native MicroPython or CircuitPython. I've got this running CircuitPython 7.3, I think it is at the moment. And it has the buzzer in the middle there. It's got the Pac-Man ghost vibes going on at the bottom. And it has the two buttons A and B either side of the 119 pixel display. And as it says there, the MicroBit is mostly compatible with the MicroBit ecosystem. I've got a few bits and pieces here. For example, this is like a Kitronic breakout for a motor, so you can plug this Pico-Ed into that and it would work exactly the same. So on this one you've got some power connectors on there, motors A and B, and a whole bunch of other bits and pieces on there. Oh, that's not motors A and B, what is that? Buttons A and B, button A and B, and a whole bunch of motors on there if you wanted to do that. I've also got over here destroy my set there. I've also got on here the this is an Adafruit MicroBit Cricket, which is sort of an octagonal board with the slot there for the MicroBit to go in, or the Pico-Ed to go in. And similarly, it's got a speaker connector. It has where's the motor bits? Motors are here, so you can plug the motors in, and there's a few other bits and pieces for driving various sort of home automation things, and some servo headers on there as well. So I don't know if you've seen one of those before, but it's pretty big actually. So this would actually define the sort of size of the robot that you're building, and yeah, this is about the size of the SmartBot as well. Anyway, back to the SmartBot. So let's have a look at some of the features. It's got the ultrasonic rangefinder for detecting and avoiding obstacles and measuring distance. We can use that in one of the demos later. It's got 2 programmable RGB LED headlights. I love these. They're great big LEDs at the front of the robot there, left and right. It also has underneath 2 ambient RGB LEDs underneath. This reminds me a bit of the Trilobot, which obviously has 6 RGB LEDs underneath for ambient lighting. And it also has 2 fully enclosed motors, and there's an infrared sensor on the back as well for controlling it. There is a controller that's sold separately. It's like a little push button remote control, and yeah, you can use that to sort of move your robot around with the appropriate software loaded. It also has an on-off switch, which sounds like why would you include that as a feature? Believe me, the number of robots I've got that don't have an on-off feature, this is really welcomed. And the rangefinder, if I just grab this off the desk here, it just slots into these 2 little connectors on there. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. And there's the battery pack as well, which just sits above. So it's got a little caster underneath, so the caster enables it to just have 2 drive wheels, and there is 2 sensors for line following either side of the robot. We'll have a look at that in a minute and just see what they do. So there's a couple of demo programs. These are some of the demo programs I found on the website. I think these were designed for the MicroBit, but they will work fine as well. So you can do things like speed up gradually, dance in a figure 8, put automatic headlights on, fall arrest Cutebot, I'm not sure what that one is, run along a black line. So there is actually included in the sheet, if I just go full screen for a second, this is included in the pack of stuff you get. It's an absolutely enormous sheet. So this is like a track that you can put on the floor, and that the robot will follow the line along. I'm never going to get this folded back up again. There we go. Compelling viewing that. And there's a really nice demo user guide as well, and it's got some really nice sort of colour instructions about what everything does, and it's even got some very simple code as well. So we'll have a look at that and type in some of the programs in a minute or 2 as well. So a whole load of stuff that you can do with this. I really like that they've gone to the trouble of writing all these to sort of demonstrate how it works. So if you like my videos, I'm a bit slapdash today. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm a bit out of practice. If you like my videos, make sure you give this video a like, give it a thumbs up. Give me a comment, let me know if you bought any robot kits previously, what you think of them, make any recommendations for ones that you think I should get as well. And if you're not subscribed, which over 75% of people who watch this are not subscribed, hit that little bell, hit the subscribe button, which I believe is changed colour. It hasn't changed colour on mine yet. Apparently it's changed. It has on yours, is it? Yeah, on my phone it's still the old red button, but I believe it's going to like a white button. Is that right? YouTuber changing things around. And I do go live every single Sunday at 7 o'clock GMT, and it's GMT now. We've gone back. We've time travelled. We had daylight savings as sort of finished. British summertime's over, which means we're into the sort of winter period. So yes, 7 o'clock every single Sunday evening, you can join me live. Okay, so let's have a bit of a demo. I've got some code written out here. Let's see if we can get over to. I'm just going to go over to. Wow, there's a bit of a story here. I'm going to go over to. This is. Yep. So this is a Raspberry Pi Pico. No, this is Raspberry Pi 400. And the reason I'm using this Raspberry Pi 400 is because when I try to plug in my my Mac to the Pico-Ed, or in fact to any board that uses MicroPython, CircuitPython, and basically treats it as like a local file system, a virtual file system, doesn't work anymore on Ventura. Apple have done something crazy where it tries to write some files, and if it doesn't see the files there, it sort of kicks the device and doesn't make it work properly. So if you've got a Raspberry Pi Pico, Pico-W, you've got a MicroBit, you've got one of these Pico-Eds, or any of the Feather chips, at the moment there's a bit of a bug in Ventura. So I'm actually just using a Raspberry Pi, because they work fine, to do all my sort of developing on for these boards. So let me just plug this in first of all. I'm just going to go over to the other camera for a second. So I've got the robot here. I'm just going to plug this in the right way around, so that's like so. It's easier to do. Put my hand out of the way. Okay, let's get that little fella just like that. And if I now go over to here, you might be able to see both at the same time. There we go. So it's just saying, do you want to do anything with this removable disk? No, I just want to start the terminal there. So we've got 7.3.3. That's Adafruit CircuitPython. So it's very similar to regular MicroPython, but they've got loads of libraries and things loaded into this. So what we're going to do, we're going to write some little programs to test this out. So what I shall try and do, let me just see if I can get this a bit better organized on the screen. So if I just move this down a little bit, like so. Let's see if we can get all the bits. There we go. You can see everything at the same time. Right. So what we're going to do first of all, we're going to have a look at what the modules are on this board. So sometimes it's useful to see what modules you have installed on a particular device. So if I do help and I type the word modules in little speech marks like that, it will give me a list of everything that's installed module wise on this board. So we can use the little scroll thing there to see what we've got installed. And I can see there, this has got some extra bits and pieces. It's got this Pico-Ed /LED, Pico-Ed /display, and so on. So it's got quite a few extra libraries installed in there that we can actually use. So let's go ahead and do import and Pico-Ed, like so. And then what we're going to do is going to say dir, which like lists all the things, all the modules within Pico-Ed. So Pico-Ed, like so. And what I really need, if I'm doing this from a script, I just need to print out the results of that to the console. So there we go. So let's just run that, see what happens. And I'm going to save this as, demo01.py. And I'm then just going to upload that. I mean, do I need to upload it? I can just run it, to be honest. Right, let's run it. And yeah, you can see there it says class, file name, file path, version. You can ignore all those. Then we've got display, board, we've got I2C, we've got music, we've got LED, we've got image, we've got display, buttons, LED, buzzer pin, internal I2C, button A and button B. So we can use these in our program to do various different things. So if we want to know a bit more about the Pico-Ed module, let's go back down to here and just do help. And then Pico-Ed, which is the name of the module. And we can see there we've got like a listing. It's basically just gone through and pulled out any of the doc strings if they exist on there. So we can see there we've got button, class of button, image, class of image, button A, display, button B, and so on. Right, so let's write a little program that's going to use some of these things. So what we'll say is, so instead of just doing import Pico, we'll say from Pico-Ed. Now there's a really bad programming practice that I'm going to do, and this is actually in their code, which is just to import everything. It's lazy and it uses loads more RAM than you actually need to, but we're just going to do that. It's best to sort of pick the actual modules that you need. And we're also going to say from Cutebot. Now Cutebot is a piece of code that they've supplied with this. I've followed the instructions. I've had to install this on the device. So down here there is a little file there that's called Cutebot. So from Cutebot, import star as well. That just brings in the Cutebot class, and then we're just going to also include from time import sleep. We always use a bit of sleep. Okay, So let's create a Cutebot. So Cutebot equals Cutebot, and then we'll say while true, and we'll say if button A is pressed, like that, then if it's pressed, we'll then do Cutebot dot set speed, which will set the speed of the motors, and we set the speed to be the left motor and the right motor. And let's do if button B is pressed, then Cutebot dot set speed, and then we'll do -50, 50, so that'll make them go backwards. Okay, then we're going to sleep for, I don't know, half a second, and then we'll basically just set the speed back. On the original code that they provide, they don't set the speed back, so once the program ends or you cancel the program, it basically just carries the motors spinning, so I'd like to sort that out. Right, so I'm going to run that. I'm now going to press one of the buttons. If I press this button on this side here, oh, hang on, it says Qt is not defined, it's Cutebot, that's why. Let's run that again. Yep, that's running now. So if I press this button here, it's jolted forward. If I press this button here, it's going to try and jolt backwards. Let's just move that around, do it again. It's spinning around because I've got this this cable attached to it, and there's a bit of tension in the cable. Now, the other thing you can see is when I lift this up, these two little LEDs change colour, and they're actually detecting the line sensors. So if I hold that up, I just cover one of them up with one finger and one up with the other finger. There we go, we can turn them on and off. And what that is just underneath this two little line sensor. It's very hard to see them, they're very, very small. And they basically just detect the distance to the floor, and that means that you can see that that's properly away from the floor, and it can detect that the floor is there. So we can use that in our code. There we go. So that was one just to test that the motors run backwards and forwards. I mean, I can hold it up and press a button, so we can do that. And if I press that button there and hold it, we can see that the motors are spinning around. If I hold it, the other button, you can see that's moving there as well. Very quiet. So I think this is ideal for sort of the education environment. Let's create a new demo, and let's call this one demo 2. Let's just save it to this computer, demo not2.py. And what we'll do now, I'm going to cut and paste a bit of that code from the top, just because it'll save a bit of time because it's the same. So let's just do Control and C, paste this in. So this is just the same thing there, but this time we're going to include from random import rand int, which is like a random integer. So this is going to guess a random, going to select a random integer for us. So while true, I'm going to say left speed equals rand int, which is this random integer, a number between 0 and 100. And we want the same thing for right speed. So this is going to be rand int, and this is going to be also between 0 and 100. So just two random integers are going to be stored in left speed and right speed, and then we can test if left speed, speed with lowercase, is less than right speed. Why does it keep doing them? Right speed. Then we'll say Cutebot dot, instead of set the motor speed, we're going to set the RGB LED light value. So let's do set light, and then we need to tell it which RGB that we're actually changing to RGB.left. And we're going to set this to, and then we provide the RGB value. So it's like red, green and blue. So if everything's set to 0, that means it's off, it's black. And then we're going to say Cutebot set light RGB.left. And this one is going to be 255255.0. So what colour is that going to be? Can you guess what that will be in advance? So we're going to also do left speed. So the first of all we had, if it was less than, let's say if it's greater than right speed, Then we're going to do something similar, so let's just grab those two above and just flip the colours round. I can see there's a typo there as well, let's just fix that. I'm basically just going to grab those two light setting pieces of code and just flip them over. So let's make that one 255, 2550, and make this one 0, 0. And then at the end we are going to say, let's have a look, sleep. So sleep. So 0.5. Okay. So what's going to happen now is it's going to change the lights depending on what the random number is. So if I just turn off the overhead camera for a second, you can see the lights a little bit better there. So it's going to change either the left side or the right side. We're getting a lot of right side action at the moment. Is it going to do the left side? Ah, I can see what my error is there. Right, let me just go up to the code and let me just change that one to right and change that one to right as well, but you spotted that already. Let's try that again, and it should flash alternately different sides for different amounts of time depending on what the value is. So it's like a roll of the dice each time it goes around the loop. I don't know why we said between 0 and 100. Really, we could just do between 0 and 1 because we're basically just saying if that number is higher, and if they're this, we're not checking if they're the same, we're just checking if they're different, and then setting the light values. If they're the same, it would skip that loop and then go straight around the loop again. So we can change the speed of this. If we change this to like 1, let's do this. It should flash pretty fast. There we go. And we can change the values as well. So one of the next programs on this is basically just to randomize the RGB values. So what we could do on here is we could then say, so where we've got like left and right, we could say r equals rand int, and it's a value between 0 and 255. And then we'll basically just do the same for all three. So let's just copy that, paste that, and let's make that G and B for red, green and blue. And then what we can then do is down here where we've got these three values, we can just change them to be R, G and B. R, G and B, and similarly down there, let's change that to R, G and B. Like so. Let's run that. Let's see what happens now. So it's just going to randomly change different colours, bit of a disco effect going on there. And let's also grab, I've discovered with the new macOS Ventura, if you have your phone and you tilt it like this and the phone's locked, you'll get an extra camera connected to your computer. It'll use your phone's camera, so you can do all sorts of clever stuff with that. Like if you're live streaming, you can use it as like an extra camera, so it's pretty cool. So there we go. So it's just done that now. So I could, for example, change this bottom camera down here. Oops. Let me go back to that. What am I doing there? Go back to there. And then on this screen here, let's see if I can get it to change that to the new camera that's just appeared. So I'll just need to add in a new camera. Let's try this. And then if I set that camera to be Kev's iPhone, there we go. So we'll just move this over here, for example, and then we've got a new camera we can look at. So there we go, we can see a bit better what's going on. I don't know if the colours are represented any better on the iPhone. It looks very similar. And you can see this is how it compares to the BurgerBot. So if I just move the BurgerBot next to it a bit more, you can see it's quite small. It's quite small. If I throw a Pico in on the mix, you can see kind of how that compares size-wise. So it's pretty small as robots go. Quite impressed with it. I'm not sure if you can use like a standard one of these HC SR04 rangefinders, the low power mode version, which is this one the low power version? It is. So I'm not sure whether you can just rip that out and plug one of these in instead, but I suspect you probably can. It looks like it's pin compatible with that. So there we go, that's what it looks like. And we can have another look around the device as well, just to have a look at this. On the back here we've got a couple of extra pins. So we've got, I think there's some servo pins on the left hand side, two servo pin headers. there's like it says S on there, and then there's also P1 and P2, and they look like another load of connectors that you can connect things to. Then underneath, I don't know if I can get this any better. So at the top there we've got the 2 line sensors let's say P4, P3 and P4, and there's also the motors themselves, and these are I'm pointing at it and you can't see me pointing. These things here are the NeoPixels that are underneath as well. There we go. Put that back where it was. Cool. I'm just going to put that phone down now, so let me just disconnect that. There we go. And if I just get rid of that as well, perfect. Cool, so that's the demo programs, and then the last 2 I was just going to do, so let's just do another program. So click on the plus, and we're going to import from Pico. So import, keeps going blurred on here. Right. So import Pico-Ed, so from Pico-Ed, import star. I'm going to play around with the display now. So I had a look at the display module, and you basically just say display scroll and then put some text in there. So hello world, hello worlds. And if we run that now, let me save this as demo 3. And I'm going to run this. Now, this is one of the flaws, I think, in the design. The way that they've got the rangefinder and that the screen is behind the rangefinder. So if you're looking at this head on as we are now, you can't see the actual text that's scrolling across. So if I again bring up the iPhone, I can get that to connect again. Then we can have a look at that. Let's wait for that to appear, and then we can connect to it. There we go. I just bring this round and then switch that on. Where's that disappear to? There it is. So if I just do that and I run the code again, you can see a little bit better there that it says hello world. So it's quite a nice display for displaying text on. You can see that there's a font, and the font is a bit more expressive than just you can get in 5 pixels high, because it's got 7 pixels. So you're getting a little bit more range there. But like I said, if you're looking at that sort of straight on, you can't see it very well. That's a slight design flaw, I would think. I don't know what they could do to improve that, just make the thing higher up maybe. But that would require a bit more fabrication. And if you think this is like a flat PCB and everything's stuck onto that, so that's kind of, they've gone for there's a value aspect to this. Okay, so let's just disconnect that one more time. Okay, and let's see what else we've got. So the last program I've got, let's just create a last one, which is demo 4. Let's just save that as demo 4. So let's go on here and say import Pico-Ed, and we are going to look and do print dir Pico-Ed, like so. Let's just print that and see what happens. So this is going to display all the different things that are inside Pico-Ed. So I can see on there's some music things. So let's have a play with that. So if I say so music, so is it Pico-Ed or just music? Let's try. If I do from Pico-Ed in import star, I can then just use these modules directly. So music dot play, I'm going to guess. Let's go down here and just do dir music and see what we have. Pico-Ed.music. Right, so there's all names of various different things. There's a play function, and then there's things like da-da-da-dum. So let's grab da-da-da-dum. Okay, so music.play, and then let's do music dot, and then the name of that da-da-da-dum. Dum. Looks like I've got that right. Let's try that. I don't know if you can hear that. Swing the microphone round. Let's do that again. So it's going da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. And there's all kinds of them. So let's play, what was the other one? Bading. This sounds like when you turn a Game Boy on. I don't know if you can hear that one. And so on. So they made this really easy. This is very similar to how the MicroBit works. There's all these kind of predefined things. Now what's quite cool is if we go back down here and do dir, music, and then let's just do that. And then let's do, so instead of dir, what am I going to do? I'm going to do help. Music. There we go. So I did help music, and what it's then doing is it's showing you what all these different things have. So that, look at that, there's like loads of different notes that have been defined there. Nyan Cat, so prelude, blues, chase. You want me to do Nyan Cat? Right, so I'll do Nyan Cat. But yeah, Bading is just B5, 1, and then E6, 3. So I'm guessing that's like how many beats it plays for. It's like a, but each note is defined there. So the playing thing would read in that list and then know what to do with it. So let's do music dot play, and then let's do the Nyan Cat one for Alex. Nyan, like that. Yep, is it going to go on like for 4 hours now? I'm impressed that somebody sat down and typed all this out. There we go. That's an extensive range of things that are in there. So you can see what I've done there. I just typed in the name of the module, and then from the console it will just show you what's in that particular thing. When things are in uppercase, it usually means they're a constant, so that they're something that's defined and that doesn't need to change. So the pieces of music, for example, they don't need to change, they are what they are. And we've got one there that's called jump up, so we can do that last one. Jump, and oops, and then underscore up. Just has 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So that is the Cutebot. Let's get back over to, put the light back on, and let's get back over to me. Okay, so is there anything else we need to cover off on the keynotes first of all? Yes, of course there is. So that was our demo. So yes, if you've not joined our Discord server, now is the time to do this. So you can just head over to kevsrobots.com/discord, and you can get a free membership if you like to our Discord server. It just signs you up there. Just asks you for your email address. And if you're not following me on social media already, I've now put my social links down here as well. So you can see on Twitter, I'm at KevsMac, on Instagram at Kevin McAleer, and on TikTok, which I'm hoping to do a few more videos, basically just recycle the YouTube shorts I'm creating. That's Kevin McAleer 6. Clearly there's so many Kevin McAleers out there in the world. And if you want to help the show, if you want to help support the show, you can do that by doing super thanks. So I think they appear after the video has been, like after the live is over, you'll see the thanks button appear next to like the join button, hint. If you're watching this live, you can do a super chat. So let me make sure I've got all my screen element things switched on for that as well. And yeah, there's also buy me a coffee. You can head over to basically kevsrobot.com/coffee if you want to buy me a coffee. If you want to get your name in the credits, you can do that as well over there. And if you've not already joined the YouTube membership thing, you might want to consider that as well. We've had quite a few people join that now as well, so I can show you who those people are in a second. So yes, supporters time. Let's have a look who our supporters are. Should just move over here so we can see. So we've got Frank, we've got Dana Huff, we've got Grumpy Scrambler, I love that name. We've got David Brellinger, we've got Hungerford Matt Hungerford, we have Flavy of Dev, we have Patrick, and then members. These are our members through the Buy Me a Coffee. We've got Steve, we've got Chemi, we have Thomas, And then the YouTube members, so this is like a growing list. This is where I'm happy to see more growth. We've got Bill, we've got Jose, we've got Jeff, we've got Joanne, we have John Paul, and we have Tom. Tom, our longest supporter as well. So if you want to get your name in these credits, over here, then you want to go over to kesrobots.com/credits, and it's basically just buy me a coffee, and you'll see your name up there as well. And if you want to just join the YouTube membership program, you can just click the join button on YouTube, and again that helps out the show. Okay, let me just go back down to here, and let's see if there's anything else left. Nope, that's my slideshow finito. Cool. So what else did I want to talk about today? So yeah, I'm hoping that bug that is in macOS Ventura gets fixed. That means that whenever you try and plug in, I can show you what that actually looks like. Whenever you plug in anything to, say, Thonny, you get some weird messages happening. So let me see. Can I do that without killing my computer? Let me have a see if I've got anything to hand to do that. No, I'll probably have to make a separate video on that. I'll do a separate short on that just so you can see like what the problem is and how to get around it. You basically can use the command line to do the copy function. You okay there, Alex? I'm sneezing. So yeah, you can use the CP command to do a copy from the command line to copy files to the device. I'm not sure how that would work. It's a really painful development cycle if you're trying to sort of copy files about. But yeah, at the moment there's like a real bug there. So I do understand that Adafruit and who's the other company, Raspberry Pi themselves, have got in touch with Apple, and they're sort of trying to raise the profile of this bug, which is pretty massive for developers of Internet of Things and MicroPython devices. So some of the other things I purchased recently that I wanted to quickly share, because this will be some of the future projects I'll be working on. So I bought some I2S devices, which means we can do some audio stuff with MicroPython. So these came through the post last week. Let's grab one of these. And these are absolutely tiny little boards. I'll probably put this on the overhead. And this is basically like an audio... Is this a line in? No, this is a... Yeah, this is a microphone. So let me just show you this on the overhead. So this is very, very small. Let me see if I can get this to focus. That doesn't... Come on, focus, focus, focus. Make sure I've got the focus thing on autofocus. There we go. So, I mean, this thing is absolutely tiny. It's really not for wanting to show that, is it? Let's get the phone out and see if that's any better. Maybe just show you on this screen because this one is also quite a fast autofocus. So, come up the old face there. So this. It's having a hard time focusing on it because it's so small. There we go. It's like a board. It's got 6 pin outs in it. It has like a left and right, and this is from a microphone output. Oh, it's an input to the MicroPython device. There you can see the little microphone itself, and then on the other side is just the actual pins that you connect this to. So that's for getting sound into your MicroPython device. And then I've got some other ones as well, which I can't find on my desk at the moment, which are output devices, basically just like a sound output. So Pimoroni made some very similar kind of devices a while back. This is their Pico audio, so this is an I2S as well. And this one has like a headphone and line output. So you could use this in combination with one of these little devices. So you'd have audio going in, do some kind of encoding on it, and then audio out from your Pico. This one just connects to the back of the Pico, and then you can plug some speakers in. So I was playing with this just before I went on vacation, and you can do some pretty cool things with it. You can make it play back WAV files very, very simply in CircuitPython. It's like 1 or 2 lines of code to do that. Very, very simple, very, very pleasing to do. So that'll be building into some of the projects and robots that I'm working on. So some of the other things I'm looking at, I think I'm going to be working on a project next using rangefinders and a servo. So what I want to do, I've seen this done quite a few times, but have a servo that rotates round on an ultrasonic rangefinder that rotates round on a servo, and it can scan the area and measure the distances the entire time it's doing that and create that kind of radar effect so you can see what objects are in front of you. Have that on top of a robot, so as it's moving along it can scan the area and see properly. And for sort of bonus points, and I don't know whether I'll be able to achieve this or not, but this is what I'm going to try. I'm going to try and get it to detect objects and classify what those objects are. So if I have something like a round ball, it should be able to detect from the type of shape that it can see when it does a sweep what the shape of the object is in front of it, and then using a little edge AI model, be able to detect what that object is. Anywhere that it's in its path, it can find that. So we can use that to have some kind of like find the object program in our robot. So that'll be quite complicated. I've not tried this before, but this is something I'm going to be shooting for. So first of all, let's make a robot with the rangefinder radar on it, and then we can take it from there. Cool. So this is the point in the video where I shall say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time. And for people who are watching this live, we'll have a bit of a Q&A and a bit of a catch up and see what people are talking about. So yeah, Sandy was talking about the galactic unicorns. So I've currently got 4. I've got 3 the prototype ones and the new one, which I'll be doing the intro video on shortly. It's got a nice speaker on the back as well. So I'm assuming that uses the I2S protocol, which is really old. I learned recently. I thought this was like something new for Internet of Things, but apparently like old-fashioned TVs use this for sort of moving audio across different devices, so you could just send the audio stream and the other thing could pick it up and do stuff with it. And it's obviously much better doing that as data packages than analog waveforms. So yes, I've got actually 4 of them. So Adam said that's another video uploaded. Awesome. So greetings from, where's that? Fort Eustis, is that? VA? That's cool. What else we got? So I love that super blinky light. That is amazing. I love that one. It's like something off the Bat computer from the old 60s Batman. They had like blinky lights. Yes. So Fridge says Kevin will have to change the entire window covered with them. I was thinking like have them all back to back, like some kind of really long ticker tape thing, and have stocks flying on there. But you know, I'm not some kind of a Wall Street stock person, but that'd be pretty cool. What else we got? So Dale says Snooky's in the doghouse today. How's Snooky doing? So Richard says, doesn't mean Kevin's audio sounded different. So yeah, what was going on there? I'll emulate this now. If I've got both microphones running, you get this weird kind of effect. So I created a new scene recently for the keynote, and yeah, what you were seeing there was the new one that hadn't been corrected. So if I press this, this is what the old one looks like, and then this is what the new one looks like. So it's slightly zoomed in. The old one hasn't got like as much stuff on there. So yeah, that's kind of what I was playing with there. And because I did that, I'd not set the scene up properly from an audio perspective. But thanks for letting me know that. Yep, Martin spotted it. He's got more than one microphone on. Yep, it is a bit robotic. Appropriate, really. It is, isn't it? So yeah, yep, you've all spotted that. Sounds like Kevin again. Phew. So YouTube chat still sucks. It is what it is, I guess. I don't know what they could do to improve that. And I said this, didn't I? Dale, you're always spot on with this. Thank you for doing that. You always mention the like and subscribe stuff. Likes are free. I do appreciate that. So I think they're ST chips on the MicroBit. So let's have a look. I've got 2 MicroBits here. I think I've got 2 of each model. These are 2 version 2s. Oh no, this is version 1. This is version 2. And yeah, I've got my glasses on, but yeah, they have an ST chip, I think, on there, like you say. So that's the difference between 1 and 2. The 2 has got the great big speaker on the front, and it's got a few other bits and pieces as well. But yeah, you can do like sound in and sound out, I think, on this one. You can do speech on the MicroBit, but it's one of them that if you play that to somebody who doesn't know what it's saying, they'll be like, what does that even say? If you tell them what it's saying and then play the sound, they're like, oh yeah, I can recognise that. So there's a bit of neural stuff going on there, I suspect. Yeah, Richard says, nice to see the ability to use normal batteries. I like the colour too of the Pico-Ed. It is a nice colour scheme they've got going on there. They had a description of it on their website which really made me smile. made me laugh because it said like exquisite design, and I thought it is exquisite. I mean, exquisite designs, you know, are something I think all PCBs and you know, manufacturers should go for. So Adafruit's Clue is MicroBit compatible. Yes, I've not got one of those, but I believe that they are completely compatible, but using their own environment. And just recently, the BBC MicroBit can now use MicroPython, like full-on MicroPython. I believe that it wasn't capable of doing that before. I think it ran like a version of Python that wasn't MicroPython with their own libraries on there. So yeah, Dale says might get one of those and put his Clue board onto. So they do sell them with and without the board. So I think there's one for like 47 with the Pico-Ed and one for 34 without, something like that. The board's about $13, I think. Cool. So yes, Adam says, I knew there was a reason not to install Ventura. I knew this as well. So as a live streamer, I wanted to make sure all my live stream stuff worked okay. And I read up on all the, you know, the people who write the software, and everything looked like it was good. I didn't anticipate that Apple would just kill off all the software development for embedded devices. That's really not great. So Richard says, a question for later, does it come assembled or do you need to put it all together? So it comes assembled. All you need to do, if I can just grab that off there. So the battery box, I'll just switch this off. The battery box is on like a little sticker. You get some stickers with it. And there's just two things to attach. So you've got this little rangefinder, and that just plugs into this little header pin there. And then you've got the actual Pico-Ed, which is like a little ghosty thing, and that just connects into there like so. Everything else is all fully assembled already, so nothing for you else to do but play. What else is there? So yeah, presume it's pre-assembled, just need to plug in the Pico-Ed, pretty much. Yes. Click like. So Kemi says, works on my machine, Intel MacBook Pro Ventura. I noticed Thonny crashes a bit more. So try flashing a new version of MicroPython, CircuitPython, and see what happens. You get all kinds of weird messages. Thonny just basically just crashes completely. And I believe what's happening in the background, there is a new attribute that's being written to one of the files. And this like dates back to like the days of the original Apple Mac. Yeah, the original Apple Macs. They had a really weird filing system where each file was actually two things. There was like a data fork and a resource fork. And their file system could support both of these things. Whereas on the FAT file system, which is used on Windows and some Linux things use it as well, and pretty much all USB memory sticks use a FAT32 type file system, they have to split that data and that resource fork into two files. So if you look on a Mac used file system, you'll see that there's like a ._ file, which is the exact same file name as the original file. And that's how it does that splitting of resource forks and data forks. And like, what is resource and what is data? Why are they different? And it was just to do with how it managed things like memory, like text strings. They would be like resources, whereas data would be stuff that you would like write to a file, like a WAV file. A bit like metadata versus actual data. So if you had like an audio file, the data would be the song itself, and the metadata, the resource, would be the artist name, all that kind of stuff, genre. So they still have that, and this is why it's caused a problem. They've done something to one of the attributes, and these devices are like, what is this file? And then they just don't allow that to work properly. So yes, Dale says, are all conditionals exclusive? Yes, they are. I think the code was designed to be very simple for a... You can see there, that's the code itself. Designed to be very simple, so they could type it out just on one or two lines of code. There we go, got another one. This one is like how to make it like line track. So you can see there, set speed, tracking, get tracking is like how you read the line sensors. So yeah, they've got some quite inelegant code just to try and make it simple to type out. So yeah. So yes, Intels are fine, cores are the problem. I see. I did minus 50 and 50. It's a terrible programmer. I've got my notes typed out here just so I could like read them and create it on the fly. But yeah, you're quite right. So what that would do, and I wrote it down correctly on here. It does got minus 50 on there as well. Yeah, that would just make one of the motors spin the wrong way around rather than the right way around, if you know what I mean. So did you ever used to do that as a kid? Like you'd like make a circle go one way, and then you'd on the other hand make a circle go the other way, and then you try and like make them go around at the same time, and then make them go in the sort of same direction. I spent lots of time figuring stuff out like that. It's like the whole pat your head thing. So yes, M1 and M2 cores the problem. Mine's an M1. Looking at getting the Mac Studio as well to speed up some of the editing that I do. And what else we got? One side has to be minus, one side has to be plus. I think they've inverted one of the motors to make the code a bit more elegant. But you're quite right to spot that. I like that you spotted that. So button A is 50-50 and button B should be minus 50, minus 50. But you are completely correct. So the Potentia H7 and M7, M4 cores. So the Potentia, is that... which board uses that? I've got a whole... I made a little kit for myself when I was on holiday so I could take stuff along. So I do have a feather in here. I'm not sure what kind of chip that uses. That's it there. So I've got one of the Hazard 32. So it's an ESP32 chip with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, 2 megs of RAM. And it's got the nice poly charger thing on there as well as the Wi-Fi. And it has the USB-C as well. So I've got one of these to play with. So it's kind of like a Raspberry Pi Pico, but probably a little bit more powerful. I've also got one of these what are they called? Not a trinket, Teensy 4.1. This is when I was learning to solder, so some of my solder I think I've gone a bit funky on there, but I probably just need to brush that off. It means I've used flux and then not got rid of the flux. But yeah, this is a 32-bit processor, can run MicroPython, but it's more suited to like audio type applications. It's also got a memory card reader on the back. So I was thinking about memory card readers the other day. So I ordered some memory card readers. I've got 4 in here. And these ones you can I get this open? Grab some wire cutters and just open this up. So it's just the memory card slot, and then broken out to SPI. That's what I'm trying to say, SPI, because basically all memory cards are just SPI devices. So you can put your memory card in there, and then you can just use SPI to connect to your Pico and then read what's on the memory card. You'll need to have some code that understands how to mount a memory card as a file system and so on. But yeah, these are like ridiculously cheap to buy, and I thought I was going to buy one of them. Try things out, particularly for the sound stuff, because the WAV files are pretty large and you'll run out of space on a Pico pretty rapidly. So Adam says, just realised that the cursor, what's that? Just tried to move the cursor and realised that it's Kevin's cursor on screen. That's hilarious. Yeah, what else have we got? Oh yes, the Apple cores, not the Potentia cores. Just skip back, and he definitely did one button 50. We can establish that you're correct, this Sandy. Don't you worry. So because I had it, and that's why it span round instead of going backwards and forwards. You held down one button, it went forward. You held down the back button, it spun round. And I just thought it was the tension in the cable. No, it was the motor. The code was incorrect. I just wanted to show that it could move the motors. That's my excuse. So that's that very true. We would have caught that for you, Kevin. You would have done, absolutely. Hey, Brian from Scotland, how you doing? And what else we've got in here? I'm really wanting to only use MicroPython from now on. So I talked about the guys. I did a short talk at the recent Melbourne MicroPython meetup, and they had Damien George on the session. I think it's online if you want to find it. And I asked him that question. I said, what do you think about the fact that we've got like several versions of MicroPython out there now? You've got the core proper MicroPython, as I would call it, that Damien George authors, curates, and so on. And he said it's kind of like Linux, where there's different distributions. So like Linus might create the kernel, and then there's like thousands of distributions, and different distributions have, you know, different camps, different people sort of, you know, go around that particular distribution. And it's similar with MicroPython. So you've got like the Pimoroni flavored MicroPython. They've built a lot of the functionality of their boards into libraries that are on their version. The batteries included pirate branded version of MicroPython, so I use that like an awful lot of things like the Galactic Unicorn. Makes sense to just use that. Then you've got CircuitPython, so that's obviously for things like the feather, which I've just put in there. Anything that they create, rather than creating like separate libraries for everything and trying to make it work with MicroPython, they just forked off MicroPython and just built their libraries into there. Now, there is a problem on the horizon, and Adafruit have solved that to a degree, which is what happens when you've built more boards and you want to support all those boards, but there's only so much memory on these Picos. What are you going to do? You're going to have to pick and choose which libraries you include on the board, because you can't include them all. So CircuitPython have kind of got around that by having them as separate downloadable things, and you can sort of pull them in. I'm interested to know what everybody else is going to do about that. Otherwise, you'll sort of paint yourself into a corner and not be able to get out of that, as it were. Got a cutie pie there as well, just noticed, from Adafruit. So yeah, that's one of the things there worth looking at. So Adam says, yeah, I saw that, and it looks like the only reason I wanted to install Ventura. So yeah, there's quite cool features on Ventura. You can do like the stage managers on there now. You've got the camera that you can put on the back of your laptop. I mean, why they just make better cameras, I don't know, but yeah, you can do like what's it called, center stage, is it, where it sort of zooms in and moves around. I have ordered one of the magnetic connector things that goes on the back, so I can connect it to my laptop. But we shall see what happens when that arrives. Slick. Yes. So yeah, nicely moved on to the Raspberry Pi to do all my programming, so that wouldn't be a problem. So it looks quite nice for its size. Yeah, it's good for the size and the price. I think it's pretty good. It's under $50, which is pretty good for a robot. When you start adding up like the price of motors, I think they're one of the most expensive components on a robot. So they're about like £7 or £8 each for like an N20 motor. So you're already talking like £14, £14, that kind of price. Then when you put on extra things like the rangefinder, you know, that might be like $1 or $2, depending where you can source them from. RGB LEDs, maybe $1 each, something like that. Then the actual board itself, so if you're using like a Pico or an RP2040, RP2040 is about $1, but if you're using like a Pico, then it's like $6 for a Wi-Fi compatible one, $4 for one without Wi-Fi. And then if you want things like tyres and wheels, the PCB, and anything else that you throw on there, like the LEDs, the infrared, the battery connectors, all that sort of adds up a little bit, as well as a bit of profit on there on top as well. So $50 is actually not bad. So yes, I believe if you go to the Elecfreaks.com website, you can find it on there. I think it's about $47.90 for the version with the Pico-Ed, and it's about $34 without, and the Pico-Ed is about $13, about $12.90 I think, plus shipping. And yes, the two lights on the front are RGB LEDs, quite chunky ones. Hey Keith, how you doing? So it needs an extension adapter. The rangefinder in the way. Maybe they need to move that out the way or have it somewhere else, I don't know. So yeah, the way I kind of solve problems like that with the BurgerBot was, yes, we've got the rangefinder there, but then you've got like the top surface to put extra bits on, so you can then create using like standoffs, or I mean, I've used these 3D printable parts, but the bottom and the top are essentially flat pieces that you can construct and build up. And the new robot that I'm working on, the Explorer version 2, is more like the Cybot from Real Robots, if you ever remember that. So I'm looking at doing kind of a build-along project for the Explorer 2. So yeah, I think it's probably a Charlie Plex display. I have one from Adafruit. Cool. Yes, I was running CircuitPython on that, just because that's what they wrote everything in, and everything works with that. Hey Lawrence. You're from Burnaby in Canada, awesome. And cutest on Amazon, but can't find the Pico-Ed. So yeah, the Pico-Ed, if you go to Elecfreaks. Let me just load that up and I'll show you the website. So it's elecfreaks.com. There we go. And if I just go over to here and type in Pico-Ed, let's find it. So there's the Cutebot 47.90 with the Pico-Ed. The Pico-Ed that is there, $12.90. And they have a version of the Cutebot without. So I just type in Cutebot there. So yeah, $34.90, and my face is covering up. Let me just jump to that. $34.90 without the MicroBit board, and you can use like a MicroBit in there if you don't want to use the Pico-Ed, but it looks nicer. Why would you bother? Not sure how much MicroBit is nowadays, but yeah, it's probably around that kind of £10 or £12 mark, I think. Cool. Nyan it. Absolutely. So we did Nyan Cat. What else we got on here? How long can you Nyan? There's like a 4-hour video, isn't there, on YouTube? Probably even longer, isn't it, Alex? Of Nyan Cat just playing over and over and over. That's just taking up some hard drive space and being backed up. Johan. Did I mispronounce a name there? Sorry about that. So hello from Indianapolis. Hey Laura. Hey Laura, I recognise you. So yes, looking great. The robot is so cute. Yes, yes. It is a cute robot. So you can still turn the lights for signal lights. I do that my Trilobot, which is still broken. So you've not got that fixed yet. Have you reached out to Pimroni to try and get some help on that? Yeah, I2C is 20 years old apparently. I know these things really creep up on you. So the LEDs on the production Galactic unit, they are lush. The diffusion makes such a difference. So I need to get some of the diffusion things on that. I can see on this one, yeah, they look really nice. I was watching that video that you put on social media of all these individual LEDs being pick and placed. I don't know why I expected it to come like from the manufacturer already like this, but I guess you are the manufacturer, so you've got to pick and place all these on there. And it looks like they're in completely random orders, but it's the machine has to pick them, doesn't it? And it can do that in a optimized way if it knows ahead of time. So yeah, I guess it knows what it's doing there. Dale's not going to use Buy Me a Coffee anymore. What's up with Buy Me a Coffee? They're pretty cool from my perspective. Journal file system. Yeah, so it might be to do with that, file caches or something. I know that I did read upon the bug that's been raised for that, but Apple don't really acknowledge that they have bugs in their software, do they? So they just release things. So is that stereo I2S? Yes, I believe it is. You can usually, there's even like one of the pinouts is for selecting which audio channel that things are going to. So yeah, I've not used it a lot yet, but I'm going to be reading up on that. So I've done scanning thing with the distance center. My script save readings. I wanted to also store the bearing of the reading. So yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to scan something and have that as like an array of readings, and then I want to put that array of values into the model that's going to be trained on detecting various objects. I'm going to have like, say, like a square object that it can detect like the different angles of the squareness, and then say like a round object and it can detect that the object is round, and I want it to be able to detect the two different types and classify it and say that, you know, over there at that angle this is where that particular object is, and it can go to it or move away from it and so on. So hey from Sydney, wow, 7 AM here, cool. And Sneaker's trying to soak up now, be a good girl. Oh. Say hello, Curso. Have you heard of Unexpected Maker? He's an Aussie as well. Cool. Yeah, he's pretty cool, isn't he? I've not checked out his YouTube channel yet. I should definitely check that out. Sandy's correct and I'm wrong. Always the case. Sandy's an excellent photographer as well. He does all the product shots for Pimroni, so all the really nice photographs you see of their products, usually done by pretty exclusively by Sandy, I believe. Cool, cool. So I have a clue, but I want to get a BBC MicroBit version 2 also. Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're pretty easy to pick up. I don't think they're in short supply at the moment. I'm saying that, and I'm not sure if that is the case. Let's have a quick look on Amazon. See MicroBit. See if you actually can get hold of these. I think micro controllers are easier to get hold of nowadays. Do I need to set BBC microbit? Let's have a look. You buy them as kits. I'm trying to find one like singularly. And I'm not seeing one on its own there. Maybe they are harder to get hold of. Don't know. I'm just looking on Amazon. I mean, maybe if we go to microbit.org, we can have a look at that. So can I buy one? Buy. So I'm just having a quick look at this over here. So depending where I am, so if I'm in the United Kingdom, Kittronics make them or sell them. So £12.50, yeah. So it's about the same price as the Pico-Ed. So there you go, there's the version 2, £11.50, board only. And what's cool is that you get them and they're different coloured. That actually says it's out of stock, does it? Currently out of stock, but more on the way. Order now and they'll be shipped as soon as they're back in stock. Interesting. So maybe they are similar to the Raspberry Pi where they're quite hard to get hold of, possibly. Not sure. So M5 Stack already had issues and I've been trying to get a custom firmware builder. Eek. So I've never bought a robot kit and I did not take apart and rebuild them my way. Ah, right, I see what you mean. So you kind of taking them apart, making them your own. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't buy a lot of kits, to be honest. I think my first robot was the SMARS robot, like an Arduino powered robot, and I kind of went from there. And I have bought like 1 or 2 kits. What's it called? There's a MicroBit robot that I bought from probably Pimoroni, and yeah, let's just find it. So it's a MicroBit robot. Let's see what it's actually called. Just trying to find it on the website. It's a Move, that's the one. So if I go back over here, so I bought one of these, and it has like loads of accessories, like a little dumper truck thing. They're not great. These wheels are like huge, and they're essentially just continuous servos rather than like a motor. It has these 5 RGB LED pixels there, and the microbit just fits in the front there. And these are just like plastic, acrylic plastic piece that are all cut, and you just screw everything together. I don't like the construction of it. It's a bit poor for the price. If they're charging like £30 for this, and if you look, you know, it's just 2 wheels and the plastic just helps guide it, a bit like BurgerBot. And the wheels are okay, they're just not great. It doesn't go very fast, it doesn't do very much. So for £30, I don't think it's good value for money. You can see that they're all just like acrylic pieces, 2 continuous servos, and just a bunch of screws. And then their board that comes with it, I don't think that adds a lot of extra value. It's got some RGB LEDs and a motor control on there. So maybe I need to do a review on that one. So I have done a review on, let's go to kezrobots.com. I posted this up earlier today. So if you go over to the reviews and let that load up, there's now like an Elecfreaks Cutebot, and you can basically just read up stuff on there. So I'll buy it. I think that's it's good value for money for what it is. And you can see all the different things that it has, what's in the box, all the user instructions with a link to that, and the 3 different programming languages that they recommend. There's one that's called MicroBlocks. I'll load that one up. Then you've got Make Code from, I think Microsoft actually write Make Code. So this MicroBlocks, let's see, can I jump back to MicroBlocks? There we go. It's kind of like Scratch. I think even say, yeah, inspired by Scratch. So it looks very similar to Scratch. It's like a drag and drop interface. Very easy to code, very, very easy for, you know, beginners, for education, that kind of thing. And yeah, the Pico-Ed is basically just a microbit, but better, because it's got an RP2040 on board. And then yes, Microsoft MicroBit code, you can code whatever you like on there. So you can change between like JavaScript and blocks or Python just by using that drop down there, which is pretty cool. I like the fact you can go from blocks, create a program, and then back again into Python very simply, and then you just sort of grab the blocks that you're interested in and just move them across. if you're programming in blocks. But if we go back to make code, if I go back to microbit.org, yeah, you can there's like a new Python editor as well. Let's click on that. Let's code. So yeah, the new Python editor is kind of at halfway house. If you want to like put a display thing on there, you can basically just grab the code, drag it across, and then there it is. It will show the hearts or whatever. And yeah, very easy to code that way. I like the drag and drop nature of the code, and then you can basically just load that up and play it, and it'll do whatever it needs to do there. So the reason it's complaining there is because of indentation. This is Python, so if I just do that, that should fix it. There we go, there's the heart, and you can change that to be whatever you want it to be. You know how to code probably. So what else we got on there? So wait, Pico-Ws are over £10 on Amazon from Raspberry Pi and CB components. So where are you based, Adam? You're in the UK, aren't you? Pico-Ws should be £6 for the Wi-Fi version, and they should be $4 for the non-Wi-Fi version. Now they do a version which is the wired version, the headed version. So this is the Pico H, and it's got these, like, they're slightly unusual because it's like a plastic brace thing, and you can see that it hasn't got like the castellated edges that you get on the regular one. If I hold that one up next to it, you can see on the one on the right, it has like castellated edges, so you could easily solder that onto something, whereas the one on the left doesn't have that, but it has like they're nicely solid headers, and it's also got this little connector at the bottom for doing like debugging and so on. So yeah, that's a slightly different variant that you can also buy. And I think they only charge like an extra £1, an extra $1 for that. So yeah, so go to Pimroni is what I would recommend there. If you're in the UK, Adam, you'll get a good bargain from them, and you can pick up some other bits while you're there as well. Maybe a Galactic Unicorn. So Kemi says, I hope your coffee's not keeping you up tonight, Alex, and you get rid of it soon. It's allergies to cats. We have lots of cats. So that Move Mini kit is pretty shonky. I like that. Shonky. I'm going to use that. I'll have to get that down and show you what that looks like and do a bit of review on it as well. It's alright, but it's just not the best. I think that at the time there wasn't many robots for the MicroBit out there, and now Cutebots out there. This is what I would build. If I was building a robot, they've done it exactly the way that I would do it, so you know, it gets 5 out of 5 for me. It's not the cough that carries you off, it's the coughing that they carry you off in. Love it. The man who invented throat lozenges died last week. Is that true, or is that some kind of joke? That's really bad. Oh no. Oh no. Ah, so you're south of me. I see. There's no coughing at the funeral. So Pi Hat charging $7 for the Wi-Fi version, and they're £5.40 each. I wish Mayday would hurry up. Mayday? What's Mayday? Payday? Maybe. Cool. So I think we've probably gone on for quite a while now. So yes, thank you so much for joining me today and having a chat with me on here. I'm just going to have a quick look and see if there's anything else. No, we're all good. Sometimes the chat gets out of sync and then doesn't catch up on the software I'm using, but I can see there we've gone through everything. So yes, thank you so much for joining me on this, and I shall see you next time. So bye for now. Maybe.
So much. Okay. Oh my god, I've run out of time. That's all I had. I'm gonna... My face is swollen. Well, is it the cat's?
It probably is.
She's dead. And she's dying.